right, now listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 15th day of December in the Lord's year 2016. Only 11 days left, and then that date is gone. I used to remember that when we write a check, how many times would you write a check and put the wrong date on it? Well, now we don't use checks anymore. So now, when do we write the date? When do we write a date anymore? I don't think I write the dates anymore unless I'm signing some contract or something.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time. My wife writes checks occasionally.
Does she?
Yeah, when we pay a babysitter or our childcare person. We don't have cash.
Our guest today is Luke Timm from Living Faith Lutheran Church. Services at 9 o'clock on Sunday mornings. Adult Sunday School at 8. And what is it? We've got one more week of different religions?
Yes, Christians Are Us. And this
Not
actually,
Christians.
Christina's.
Christina's. Thank you, because he misspelled the slide.
The first week I misspelled it, so I decided I'm going to stick with this the whole time. So we've been doing Christina's Are Us. And actually this week we're doing... the last version is all of those faiths that are not Christian but seem to be, are close to or reference Christ, that kind of a thing. So that's this last one this Sunday, 8 o'clock, and afterwards there's a parenting class. Anybody's welcome to come by for that. We ask that you chip in for childcare if you want to come by. But
yeah, you and your wife are teaching it.
Yeah, Joni and I teach that.
You have 6 children.
We have 6 kids, which is 5 too many, in case anybody out there is keeping score. And
which one would you keep to choose?
Oh, he knows.
Oh, okay. Oh, gee, many.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of experience raising kids, and I've been doing youth work since I was in college, and so yeah, we've got a lot of experience in that kind of stuff. So,
do you use any particular curriculum, or is it just kind of?
We've cobbled it together. My wife is a voracious reader. Like you've never met somebody who reads as much as my wife. She probably puts away 6 books a month, something like that, maybe more. Wow. And I like to read too, but no, she makes me look silly when it comes to reading. So one of our favorite ones to recommend to people with newborns is a book called Baby Wise. I can't think of the author off the top of my head, but
I mean, how many books can be called Baby Wise?
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's so good for newborn kids. And then there's Raising Boys. The Dobson curriculum is another one of our favorites. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And then we've been to various lessons and conferences and stuff like that too. So kind of combining all of that stuff together.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's at 9 o'clock.
That's at 10.
Oh,
well,
at
about
10:15.
Church is at 9, so 9 to 10 church, and then people get their coffee and snackies, and then we have the class.
Nice.
And now we have a 2-week break with Sunday school, and then what's the next lesson in Sunday school?
I don't have it in front of me. I don't know what I'm teaching next.
Oh, okay.
Is that on Becoming Baby Wise?
Yes, that's the book. Yep.
Okay. And that's Gary Esso?
Yeah, there you go.
And Robert Buckman?
Yeah, wonderful book. It's highly recommended for anybody with a newborn. It's even before your kid is born, just read that book because it helps with everything from getting them to sleep through the night to how to feed them well and correctly, all that kind of stuff.
And at one point, you had triplets.
We still have triplets.
You still have triplets, but I mean, you had newborn.
So we had 9 kids.
They slowly grow apart.
But you had 3 newborns at one time.
We did, yeah. We had 3 of the natural, what I like to say, the biblical way, and then we went through the process of embryo adoption, and that in itself is a whole crazy cool story. But we adopted embryos, transferred 2 embryos, and ended up with 3 babies. So my wife is like a slot machine. You put some in, you hope more comes out. She loves it when I say that.
I'm sure.
Really?
It makes her feel really special and beautiful.
515-244-0077. That's the phone number you can call if you'd like to have your voice heard on the radio. Or, of course, you can text us at the Service Legends Truth Talk text line at 809-0993. Brought to you by First Call Bail Bonds as they remind you not to text and drive. So we're continuing the conversation that we started yesterday about church hurt. One of the reasons I'm interested in this is because the Des Moines Register asked me to write an op-ed every couple of months. And it's my time to write one for the month of January. And January is a new year, and a lot of people will find themselves thinking about going to different churches after the beginning of the new year. You know, they stay at their church for the Christmas holidays and the Christmas pageants and the kids' Christmas pageants and the cantata and all that kind of stuff. And then when the new year comes around, they start church shopping. And most of the reasons that people begin to church shop is that they're church hurt. Now, what's the definition of church hurt? I'm gonna turn that over to you, Luke, and see if you can answer that better than I can.
Well, I think the way people use it is to just describe some kind of offense or some hurt feelings that occurred with a church. Usually that involves a change in leadership or leadership making decisions or just whatever it is that they disagree with. But they have to have some kind of personal stake in it. You know, if a church just starts to decline or things, you know, if the quality of preaching or something like that isn't up to par with people's standards, they usually leave unhurt. They just kind of go out. But it's when some decision is made or somebody does something that causes offense that really to somebody who has stake in the game, who feels invested in that church, then that offense usually results with them having some ill will towards leadership, or in general thinking that these churches are all the same, and they get this negative feeling towards the institution of church. They don't lose their salvation, they don't lose their faith. They just think that, you know, these churches ruin the gospel and the New Testament movement that was people and their faith and their communities coming together. So it's that ill will towards the institution of church.
All right, so without names, if you can, and maybe you have to do it outside Des Moines. You've only been here for 7.5 years, so maybe you can go back to your last church. But can you share some instances in which people came to you and said they were leaving the church and some of the reasons that they left? And again, I don't want to convict anybody.
Absolutely. You know? Oh, my gosh. And the answer is yes and no. Most church hurt people tend to jettison out of the church without any conversation. You tend to hear later that there was an offense after you haven't seen that person in church for some while. Usually when somebody's hurt by church, they feel this distance of like a power imbalance where, well, what I say isn't going to make a difference anyways. You know, this thing happened, it's over, I can't do anything about it, and they jettison out. But I can give a couple of examples outside of my former church or my current church. I know a situation where former preschool director was just an incredible preschool director, did a fantastic job. And then she retired and took a different job elsewhere. New director steps in, and all of a sudden the church started to make some decisions about the preschool, doing things they hadn't done before, and let go one of the church members, let go one of the employees of the preschool who was also a church member. And they did it like the worst way possible. They made it kind of public. They sent out an email to a bunch of people that said, this person no longer works here anymore. Let them go for X, Y, and Z. And it was like, okay, that's not okay. And obviously that employee / church member jettisoned out because, you know, their name was dragged through the mud. But this other former employee who was still currently a worshiper there just felt incredibly hurt by that because the decision undermined, and not so much that particular member, although I think they're friendly enough, but that undermined the preschool. Now the preschool doesn't get to make decisions about their employees anymore. So it shifted from, you know, preschool making decisions to now the church is just going to go ahead and say these things and do these things. And she had poured in a couple of decades worth of energy to build up a really good preschool, and sees how the church meddling in that, in things they don't know about or understand, can kill the preschool, really hurt the preschool. So this person was incredibly church hurt by that because of the way things were handled.
Now, wouldn't that what's the term for that if that happened at Wells Fargo, or it happened at Nationwide, or it happened at Carl Chevrolet, or wherever it happens? What do we call that in the secular world?
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Okay, I mean, you got canned.
Yeah.
You don't like it. You make a grievance. You file for unemployment. Right. There's a hearing.
Right, but it's the difference between the corporate world and then the church world is that people don't have the same kind of investment of spirit and heart in a company that they do in a church. So you know that's the real difference. It's, you know, if somebody got fired at Wells Fargo, their friends might be upset or sad about it, but they kind of see it as, well, that's business. I mean, they may think it's dumb. They might think that decision was stupid, that it was a valuable employee. They may think that guy got the short end of the stick, but they don't have this sense that the company they believed in and trusted in to, you know, they don't have that same standard of compassion and love for Wells Fargo as they do for their church. So it's really not necessarily the person who's been let go. It's the collateral. It's the sideways. In a church, you've got this strange organization where, you know, Wells Fargo, you've got ownership, employees, you've got customers, you've got product, and they're all very different things. In a church, you have an institution where your ownership are the people. Your product of a church is the people. Your supporters, your benefactors, your investors are the people. So anything that happens affects people in all of those dynamics. So anytime there's any controversy or conflict, the waves, the ripples spread out so far and so wide and hit so many different people.
All right, we're going to come back. We're continuing our stories. Do you have one to share? Maybe you're a pastor. Maybe you were the one that was hurt. We'd like to hear those stories as we talk about church hurt today, live in Mac's World.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi. My name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Away in a manger, no crib for a bed. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hill.
21 minutes after 4:21 in the afternoon on the 15th day of December in the Lord's year 2016. Just 11 more days in this year, and then we translate and move over to 2017. Kind of hard to believe, 2017, but it's on its way. We'll soon be at 2020. Don't know why that means anything, but it's just...
It's hindsight.
It is. It's hindsight.
So in 2020...
I've always wanted to be a black deer, and that's hindsight too now. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I didn't follow that at all.
I didn't pick up on that.
Okay.
I was just thinking, when we were listening to that Christmas music, it was really funny because it was yesterday, wasn't it, that we were talking about the round young virgin? And Wednesday night...
Round yon virgin.
Sorry, round
mother
yawn.
and child.
We were talking about that yesterday, and so it was interesting to go and read the text of Silent Night and kind of put all those words together. Well, at Westkirk Presbyterian, we have church... Wow on Wednesdays.
That's
right?
where you go.
Where I go.
Yeah.
Wednesdays at Westkirk. Well, last night we did kind of a carol
Wednesdays
sing.
at Westkirk would not be wow. It'd be wow. It'd be wham. Wah. Wow. W-A-W. Wow. Anyway, go ahead. We'll just say it's wow.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called wow anyway. Anyway, we sang carols, and it was just, we sang Silent Night. And so as I'm singing the first line from Silent Night, I've got this dorky smirk on my face because I know what round yon virgin means now.
Huh. You actually want to know something about that song, that those lyrics that I think, this is my thought, it's a theory, but I'm a bit of a grammar nerd, and I'm a bit of a lyricist nerd. Let's go through the lyrics again. Silent night, holy night. What is that night? What kind of night is it?
Silent night, holy night.
And it is, it's the next part of the song.
All calm, all bright.
Calm and bright.
Yeah.
And then you've got the child. Do you remember what the child is? Holy infant, so...
Tender and mild.
And what is what is Mary? The virgin is...
Round.
Mother and child.
Oh, yeah.
I think child modifies virgin. Round yon virgin, that mother and child. She's like probably 13 at the time. That, I think, is what the song is trying to portray.
Bob, come here, Bob, while they're talking. Did you understand a thing he said?
No.
Silent night, holy night. It's calm and bright. Round yon virgin.
Mother and
that
child.
Mother and child. The infant is tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. I think that song, I mean, every time I sang that song, I always thought that Round yon virgin, mother and child was simply describing the people there. But there were more than them there.
Okay, well,
Chris, you just look absolutely confused.
No, I'm a visual
You're not
person.
making any sense.
No, I've got it. The tender and mild describes the child.
Right, tender and mild is the child. Mother and child is the virgin.
Jebediah's going to play it for us, I guess. Come on.
All is calm, all is bright, round the young virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleeping.
What we would need is somebody who really knows German well and can look that up in the original text and tell us.
Herb.
Yeah, Herb could probably do it.
Herb could do it.
I don't know if he knows grammar well. He's fluent in German, but we need my buddy Ben Haupt could do it. Oh, that's
Okay.
Ben.
All right.
Ben.
Okay, so we're back on the radio this afternoon. We want to remind you that today and tomorrow will be our last broadcasts from planet Earth. Next week, Bob Montserrat and myself. Bob, say hello.
Hello.
And along with Craig Ellingson, Betty, and Dick Odegaard, the five of us are going to Israel. And we fly out at 4 o'clock Monday morning. We land in Tel Aviv. When do we land in Tel Aviv? Like Tuesday afternoon?
Yes.
Something like that, isn't it? Like Tuesday, 2 o'clock or something?
I'll have to look it up. I can look it up on...
Well, that's all right. It doesn't matter. But we gain 9 hours. And so we will land sometime on Tuesday in Tel Aviv, and then we are bused immediately to kind of a schmancy, fancy hotel, Paradise Hotel in Jerusalem. And actually in Bethlehem. That's in Bethlehem. And then we are just a few blocks away from the First Baptist Church of Bethlehem, a church that Pastor Stephen Corey has planted. And this will be their first Christmas service. And they have a studio built into this. And so we will be doing Mac's World live, maybe Wednesday. We're going to see how Tuesday goes. I'm being told by way too many people that when I get there, don't go to bed. Immediately go to whatever you're going to do, and then go to bed
I got
at
this for you.
9 o'clock at night like you normally would, and then get up in the morning and then do the show Wednesday morning.
I got this for you. Here's what I do when I fly to Kenya.
Yeah, you go to Kenya, what, once a year, twice a year?
About twice a year.
Okay.
So this is my methodology.
How long is that flight?
Total, it's about 20 hours.
What do you do?
So what I do is I get on the plane, and as well, the leg that goes over the first long leg, we fly to Dallas or something like that. First long leg, first thing I do is when I see that food cart coming, they're going to serve me a meal.
Yeah.
As soon as I can see it, I take a clonazepam, which is like a Xanax, but it's longer lasting. And then I take a Zolpidem, which is a sleeping pill. It's Ambien, essentially. So clonazepam and Ambien, and I drink a scotch. And then by the time...
Well, that goes out the window for me right
I know,
there.
but you could probably just do the first two.
Okay.
But see, then what happens is, as the landing gear goes down, you wake up. And then you get off the plane. And then there's a little bit of layover in Amsterdam or Heathrow, something like that. And then I hang out and I get on another plane. And as soon as I see the food cart, I take a clonazepam and an Ambien and a scotch. And then I wake up in Kenya. I land in Nairobi.
Do you eat when you see do you ever eat?
Yeah, I timed it wrong once. The idea is when you see the cart coming, you take the meds, and then by the time you're done eating, you just fall asleep and you stay asleep the whole time. But the one time I was a little bit jumpy on those pills, and I woke up covered in dinner. It was embarrassing. I don't recall eating.
When do we land?
This
Bob?
says we land at 9:25 a.m. Tuesday, December 20th.
See, if you do it that way, if you sleep the whole flight, you'll land feeling like $1 million, and then like you're just awake during the day. But then once it gets dark, your circadian rhythm, that's the whole weird 24-hour rhythm thing your body's on, that gets thrown off. So then once it gets dark, you take another one of those Ambiens, and then
Where do I get these Ambiens?
You got to get a prescription or know a guy who goes to Kenya all the time.
I was going to say, I have I can't call my doctor this quick and do that, and I can't drink, so I'm not going to drink. So I guess I can, but I don't.
I know a guy. I can hook you up.
All right, good. So what are you going to do, Bob? Because you've done this before. You have flown this far several times before in your career as a DCI forensics agent.
Yes.
What are you going to do when we get on that plane in Newark at whatever time it is, late on Monday? 4 o'clock on Monday
afternoon.
So what are you going to do then?
Well, I'll wait for food first.
Okay.
And then I'll probably go to sleep, hit the restroom, climb over like 5-10 people to get out of the aisle, and find a restroom, and then go to sleep. I tend to use melatonin, which you can do that. You can take melatonin, which
is natural.
It's natural. As your pineal gland puts that out, so it'll make you drowsy and go to sleep.
Okay.
And then when you get there at 9:30, you wake up, and then you just stay awake the whole day, like he was saying. Now on the way back is when it's usually worse, because we're coming back in time. We're going back in time.
Wasn't that a Huey Lewis in the News song? Okay.
So what I do then at that point is whatever at that time is, we'll be getting back like in the evening. So we'll be getting back when it's time to go to bed, but we won't be sleepy because we've been up. So then I take a number of probably 8 to 10 milligrams of
White Crosses?
No, that keeps you awake. Of melatonin, and that resets your biological clock.
Melatonin is good. I have that in my cupboard. I use it occasionally. But man, Ambien is magic.
Yeah, but Ambien is what causes you to get up and drive to Sioux City, and you didn't even know it.
That can happen. Yeah,
You don't want to do that on a plane.
Yeah, I know a guy. So the guy who taught me this method is a missionary.
I want to hear this.
Yeah, he's a missionary in Hong Kong, and he used to do this. He used to and one time he woke up without a shirt on and had spent all of his money and didn't know where his wallet was.
Wow. Did he ever find out?
Yeah, the guys behind him were like, well, you bought us all drinks. Yeah. And then you started handing your wallet out to people, and I think his wife at the time took his wallet from him, but he was hot, so he took his shirt off, and he was walking around the cabin, went to the bathroom and stuff.
And he has no memory of it.
None.
That's what Ambien does. If you don't get the full...
For some people, I've never had that problem, but what Ambien does is it's like this thing, it reaches into your brain, and it just flips a switch. It's not a narcotic. It doesn't get you drowsy enough to fall asleep.
It is too a narcotic. Ambien is a narcotic.
No, it's not. It's not a narcotic.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought it was.
It just touches that. There's a little thing there's a little switch, and it just goes bloop, and you just go unconscious. But then if the front cortex of your brain starts firing, you get motor skills and you start doing stuff.
And generally it happens if you don't get 8 hours of sleep.
I can't risk that.
You totally can risk it. It'd be great to get those pictures. And I assume Frank will take them for me.
Frank's not on the plane.
Oh, good.
Bob's on the plane.
Frank
will be here with you. I've asked Frank to please take my seat at the Wednesday Bible study.
Oh, good. I know which one to put a bomb under.
All right, so we are taking that trip. We will plan on broadcasting live on Thursday and Friday of next week for sure, maybe Wednesday. Again, it just depends on schedules. And then our most special broadcast will be noon to 1 our time. This is all our time. Noon to 1 our time, which will be 9 hours later in the middle of, their Christmas Eve service at the First Baptist Church of Bethlehem. So we'll be doing a noon to 1 live show on Saturday, Christmas Eve. And then we will put 2 shows in the can, which means we'll record a show for Monday and we'll record a show for Tuesday, because during that time we'll be flying back. I hope to be here on Wednesday. Do you think you'll be here on Wednesday? Do you think we'll be able to be up and ready to go by Wednesday at 3?
I would think so, but...
We get home at what'd you say, 4 in the afternoon?
Well, I'll have to look at what yours is, because yours is different than mine coming home.
Oh, that's right. He's got he first class over here, Mr. First Class.
No.
So anyway, hopefully Wednesday we'll be on, but we will have guest hosts scheduled just in case, because I've been told that we are going to crash physically and emotionally, and it is incorrect for us to try to think we're going to function on Wednesday.
Right, 12:14 a.m. on the 27th is when you get home.
That's Tuesday morning.
Correct.
25, 26, Tuesday morning at midnight?
No, Tuesday at 12:14
a.m. Midnight.
Well, okay.
Okay, let's talk about that when we come back, because that sounds odd to me. All right, Luke Timm's here. We're talking about church hurt. We're coming back live on The Truth.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
It's 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 5 o'clock. Salem Radio Network News, and then Hank, the Bible Answer Man, at 1-888-ASK-HANK. All right, well, we figured it out in the break. My body will actually be about 11 in the morning.
Oh, you're saying earlier because of the 9 hour
Later. Won't it?
Well, there's a 9 hour difference, so we're coming back 9 hours. So it's a 12-hour flight coming back just from there. But there's a 9 hour difference between us here and
that's
Israel.
9 hours back.
Right, when we come back.
So I'll really land at midnight on Monday night, but it'll actually be 9 a.m. to my body.
9 hours earlier.
Mm-hmm. I don't care. I'm just getting on a plane and going. No, I really am. I'm just lost. I'm not even going to try to. Jill, my assistant, has just got this all figured out. I don't care. I'm going. And I don't think I should take Ambien on a plane.
You should totally take Ambien on a plane.
777. It's a big, wide body Campbell's soup can. And I could not, if I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, 777 is a good plane. The Airbus is another really nice one.
The 87.
No, it's a different airline.
A10? 310? 310?
It's Boeing versus McDonnell. What is it? McDonnell Douglas.
This is too much information for me. I just want to get my sandals on the ground, and Craig and I are going to get rebaptized in the Jordan River, and we're going to see the tomb, and we're going to see, obviously, Jesus' birthplace, which we think it's there, but we don't know. I mean, who knows? Do we know? Does anybody really know?
Not exactly.
But we know where Bethlehem is.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally speaking. Generally is good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, not that big a town.
Okay.
Walk around the whole thing. You'll have been there at least for an instant.
Yeah, it's not very big, is it?
Yeah, just walk around the whole town. You can say for sure at some point I was at the place.
I was at the place where Jesus was born. All right. So back to our conversation today on church hurt. We're talking about instances where people have left church and claim, I shouldn't say claim, but they feel that they've been hurt. And what I'm learning from you, Luke, is that it's worse in a church scenario than it is in a corporate scenario.
Yeah, I think so, and it has to do with that investment and the getting skin in the game. I was talking to Chris, during one of the breaks, and one of the things that I think is key to it is that church shopping is a reality, and I'm not against it. I understand people's desire to find a connection with some kind of a local congregation, and that usually, whatever that is, whether you like the pastor's preaching, you love the kids program, the music is fantastic, you kind of buy into that aspect, and that's the major attraction for you for this congregation.
Now, I've heard that a person makes a decision whether they like a church or not within the first 8 minutes. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I have heard that, and I think that's true, but that's like a church. I like a lot of churches. I love my church, and there's a difference. Some people walk into a church and like, well, we'll never come back here again. But that's different from walking into a church and being like, I like this place, versus having spent some time there going, man, I love this place. And you can give reasons why. And it's usually when something happens to one of those reasons, whether it's with music or the leadership or the children's program, something changes. It feels like that thing that they fell in love with just went away. And that's really that's how people get hurt by churches. But even that term church hurt, I always found a little bit dubious, because it's never really a church. I mean, you've never heard a story of I'm church hurt because they had a meeting and everybody voted unanimously that I'm a jerk and I can't come back. It's always...
Now, wait a minute. That happened to me. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, that's happened to you in a lot of things.
I know. Go ahead. All
We were actually, Chris and I were going to have a meeting later.
Yeah.
And
Bob, while we're gone, we're going to be voted out.
No, Bob's...
Voted. Oh,
Bob's
Bob will
in
be
that
in. Oh, good. Jeb, you're coming with me, aren't you? You're gonna walk with me.
Yeah, I was going to hide in the back of the cargo area.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, that's what his story is. So we use this phrase church hurt, but it's really a person or a small group of people. It's always tied seemingly to a decision that was made that affected the thing that you're in love with. It's not really the whole congregation, because when we talk about church, we're really talking about so many different facets of a local body of believers. And it just doesn't happen that whole church is like, we all decided you're a jerk, we hate you. It is one small piece of that. But what happens then is there's such a break in trust and affinity that it just kind of gets projected to the whole church. And people think, well, if the church I loved for so long did that, then it just kind of extrapolates out to every church is probably this way. And they don't want to risk. It's like a jilted lover, and people who are slow to get back into relationships because they have trust issues. Same thing happens with the church. You've been hurt by a church, really an individual or two, but you just decide church isn't worth it again because it's not worth getting hurt like that again.
There's also, I think, of a caller that we had yesterday, Frank, who called in and shared his story. Sometimes when people are hurt by a small group or an individual member of the church, they want recognition from the greater body of believers. And sadly, sometimes they don't get that. And it's kind of like, no one even believes me that this happened. We all go to church together. Mac did something that really upset me. It hurt me. I tell you and Bob about it. Luke, I tell you guys about it. And y'all like, nah, Mac didn't do that. That just really compounds the issue so much more. Now it does feel like the entire church is out to get me because nobody believes that it happened, or that's not really that bad, or whatever. They don't side with the pain sometimes.
Yeah, and it really... a good church, a smart church, has built into somewhere, they have built in a process where when that sort of thing happens, you can do that. But there's some kind of avenue, some levers and buttons where you can go, well, here's the process. I've been hurt. This thing happened. Here's who you tell. And here's what you can expect to happen. And here's the kind of resolutions that you can expect we can get to. And sometimes even that doesn't work well because, the resolution for those processes are usually, our goal is that the two of you can coexist and just be in the same place together and worship and both call this place home. Sometimes that's possible. Sometimes you go a level above that and say, our hope is that the two of you can be friends again and reconcile and move past this thing. But sometimes the aggrieved person or the one who did the aggrieving have this idea that, no, there's no satisfaction until I get public pain out of the other person.
But that's not Jesus.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not good. I'm just saying it's dissatisfying. So our process is Jesus. Our process is gospel-centered. But if somebody wants pain out of someone, they're going to do what they can to exact it.
Yeah.
And so from my perspective, I have a different perspective as a pastor. Sometimes people will leave my church in an attempt to exact retribution against me for something that I've decided. I've had that happen more times than I could count, where somebody just disappears and leaves. I hear later it's because of something I did or said, some decision I made, and it is, sometimes the one step less than that would be to stop giving. Well, I'm not going to give to this church anymore because Pastor Luke's a jerk.
But they keep coming.
Yeah, they're just kind of protesting. They're trying to get it because they know the budget and the giving, all that stuff reflects on me. If it's going well, people assume that Pastor Luke's doing a good job. If it's going poorly, people assume Pastor Luke's doing a bad job. So I'm going to withhold my giving to hurt Pastor Luke, or I'm going to leave, and everybody's going, wow, that family or those people left, and they've been here for a long time, and that's going to tarnish my reputation. And I have a specific way of dealing with those things. I don't chase after people who leave like that. I don't follow. I hope they find a church. I may send an email or note to say, if you want to sit down and talk, I'd be happy to do that, to give you a chance to voice those things. But my primary goal is that you find a place to worship. That's what I care about. And to a person, none of them have ever... Well, I should take that back. One guy sat down with me once and talked to me, and we came to the conclusion he didn't like me, and his wife really didn't like me. And I said, and he loved the church, and I said, well, it's okay.
All right, last break. We're coming back. Church hurt. You have a story? 515-244-0077, live in Mac's World.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Sell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. Go, sell it on the mountain, that Jesus Christ is born.
It's 6:50, 10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Hank, the Bible Answer Man. You can call him at 1-888-ASK-HANK. Luke Timm from Living Faith Lutheran Church is my guest. That church is located just south of 142nd and Hickman. At that corner, you find Heartland Presbyterian, and if you turn south right there on 142nd, it's the first driveway. You pull in, and that's where the church is. Services at 9 o'clock. Adult Sunday school at 8 o'clock in the morning. And you have parenting classes for the next couple of weeks at 10:15.
Yeah, and then in the new year, we do start a new curriculum course and all that. And I just don't have that with me to tell you what it is. But I'm going to be running Lutheran 101 again, and then a couple of Bible
studies. Which is the new
studies.
member class.
Yeah, it's encouraged. Everybody's encouraged to take it. But if you are joining, it's actually designed so that if you're thinking about joining, you can take this class and be like, well, I don't believe in any of that stuff. Maybe I'm not going to join this church. Or you might take that class and go, yeah, that sounds on point, and join the church.
And then you have a new membership Monday or new membership Sunday.
Yeah, we make everybody stand up and we smile at them and clap for them and give them cake. Cake is good.
515-244-0077. That's the number you can call if you'd like to share your church hurt story. You said you had one, Chris. Didn't you? Oh, maybe I thought you did. Okay, never mind.
No.
Drawing a blank here. Nope. But I was going to ask the question: What do we do? What do we do after it's happened?
Who's we? Kimosabi.
Well,
the church, the pastor, the members, the elders, the council.
There's two groups I guess I'm thinking about. One is the church that remains and finds out that Bob was upset about something and he left. How do we respond to Bob? And then
who's we? The congregants?
I just explained, didn't I?
Oh, okay.
I got it.
The people who remain at the church. You got to listen.
Okay, sorry. Excuse me.
Or if we're the one who was hurt. So we're not pastors except for that one. Luke Timm is. Yeah. But the rest of us, right? And this would apply to you too. You're in a different position though. But as church members, how do we respond to the person who's hurt when they leave and all that? How do we care for them? And two, how do we respond if we're the one that is hurt? What ought we do? So 2 questions. Go.
Well, I think that it kind of depends on the nature of the hurt and the willingness of the person to be healed from that. One of the reasons why I say I don't chase down those people who jettison is what I have discovered is oftentimes it becomes this. I say it's taking yourself hostage. And if you've ever seen the movie Speed, I agree 100%. Shoot the hostage. It's not that I don't love these people, but instead, what you do is you reinforce that as a behavior, and you reinforce that as this is how church works. When you're upset, you leave and you run, and then you force the leadership because they care about you and love you to come chase after you, and you've just built this to be not only the next thing for me, but any other pastor they ever have. And you teach the whole church that when the pastor does something that makes you upset, or the council or the elders do something that makes you upset, here's how you handle that. You stop giving and you stop going to church and you wait. And then they come to get you and they try and appease you and they meet your demands. They just hold themselves hostage. That's I don't really see that most often, but probably a quarter of the time that's the case. 25% of the time it's there. And what I do is I tell my members who are friends with them, go and love on that person, and tell them you miss them. That's the best thing to do is just to call them up and say, I miss seeing your face in church, man. I miss being around you, miss praying with you on Sundays. I miss you there, and see if restoring relationship. I would say it's a sideways thing. It's person to person in the church. Restoring that relationship is your best way of doing that. But the leadership chasing after to reconcile doesn't work, because the person in that 25% category isn't looking for reconciliation. They're looking for retribution. If somebody is just hurt because I said something stupid, which happens most Sundays, if that's the case, then reconciliation is easy. It's easy. This is not bragging. It's easy for me to apologize and to reconcile because I'm so good at being wrong. I'm so good at hurting people and offending them that I've had a lot of practice. So I don't mind coming to somebody and saying, I probably shouldn't have said that, or I heard you got hurt by that. I didn't think you would. That's just on me. I'm sorry, and look for forgiveness. And in that case, people will often come back. But yeah, those are kind of the two categories of people who are hurt by leadership in the church. Now, if it is not leadership, if it's crosswise, oftentimes what happens is that crosswise ends up triangulating itself into leadership. So person A is mad at person B, and they're upset, and there's no reconciliation possible, just a war going on. So they go and find an elder who's sympathetic to their cause. And then you've got an ugly triangle of death. And that spirals into a bad situation where I coach my elders and my council to stay out of that and just to stay away from it, because that little circle of death, a little triangle of death, festers into a group. Because if person A has gotten this elder, person B is going to go get that elder, and then I'm going to get a couple people from council, and I'm going to get a couple people from council. This person gives a lot of money. I'm going to go get them on my side, and now we're going to get you. And then pretty soon what you've got is a cancerous tumor. And the best thing to do with a cancerous tumor is...
cut it out.
Gut it out.
Everything.
Yeah, and that's what churches aren't good at unless you happen to be like a Quaker or something like that. Just excommunicating, get people out of the church, because it becomes a turf war. And this happened at my last congregation back in Michigan, and that turf war got to a point where it was so ugly that most of the leadership, myself included, just went to exit. And I took a call to Iowa. Senior pastor took a call out of the church. The other associate pastor took a call. The music director took a call. The principal of the school took a call. And it just, we all sat together and said, this tumor is only building, and it's growing because everybody is, all they're doing, they're spending all of their time trying to vie for position. There was even an attempted coup where the idea was those who really disliked the senior pastor were coming to me to try and work to undermine him and set me up as the senior pastor there. Yeah, little did they know he and I are like blood brothers, man. I mean, we're tight. So it didn't work out. And so us staying there only reinforced this, let's try and build sides.
Luke Timm has been our guest today from Living Faith, and we appreciate you being here, Luke, and sharing your stories. I just want to put the last exclamation point on this. If everybody in church acts like Jesus and chooses to forgive and chooses to take those resentments and give them to Jesus, because that's what he's there for, then those people will be forgiven as they forgive. And that's how God will forgive us. So forgive like you want to be forgiven, okay? I'll see you at church.